So just like Dave Hodges. I don't know if you guys are fans. I'm a big fan. I subscribe to him. I love Dave Hodges. And so his show is called The Common Sense Show. And he did this short little segment that I'm sure was just kind of a throwaway for him, where he got paranoid about what he considers a huge move by the rich and elite to want to colonize in space. Now again, this is the Common Sense Show, and I'm a big fan. I get a lot of information from him, especially on the political front. And I know he just mirrors a lot of headlines, things of that nature, but this analysis is particularly illuminating of where critical thinking and where common sense meets indoctrination and really just kills common sense. Because if he had any common sense, I mean, he begins the video with, the citation, and the citation, I believe, was, I'm not even going to remember now. It's something like next world technology, or I don't even know. You wouldn't know. It's so obscure. And it talks about some obscure, maybe you guys know it, and so, check out Dave Hodges' elite want to colonize the space. But to me, it was an obscure, wannabe Lockheed Martin aerospace company, development company, talking about all these contracts supposedly from a lot of wealthy people that want to colonize. And then it gave different plans, such as colonizing the moon by 2020, I think it was, or 2022. And then, of course, throwing in Mars as well. Mars and the moon being, Mars might as well be our moon, right? Like, we just go in and out of Mars like crazy. The rover's just, oh yeah, sure. The rover's there. Let's not talk about the rover. I guess that's too much common sense to ask a lot of questions about the rover. So I'm not even going to go there with that. But there's hardly any common sense going on here. We haven't been to the moon ever, in my opinion, but, since the 60s, in your opinion, Mr. Common Sense Show. And you're actually entertaining the fact that this private company is going to have some sort of taxi service to the moon. It's in the next 6 years. And if you listen to all of the experts at any of these developmental companies, like SpaceX, for example, they will tell you that they are trying to tackle the radiation belts right now. So we don't even know how to get past that, much less have some sort of, back and forth mythology of going to the moon, and then throwing in Mars. This is not common sense, okay? Thinking about the fact that the moon, that you've never seen the backside of the moon, ever. And that's supposed to be common sense to you, to think that you're going to go land on the moon, or that your idea of space is common sense, when you have never seen the backside of the moon. And you're telling me that in your common sense, things are rotating. I've never seen you do a show where you speculate that possibly we are not on a spinning planet that is a ball, much less one that is hurling through space at ridiculous speeds around another ball that is hurling around ridiculous speeds around a great attractor, or whatever they want to make up for the center of this galaxy. That's common sense, I guess. Okay, that's common sense. The North Star has never moved, ever, since documented history. We've used the North Star to navigate ourselves. And you're going to tell me that common sense tells you that North Star is moving millions of miles an hour, millions of miles away from here, and really millions is just, it is rather infantile to even say that, because really we're talking about light years. The North Star is 10 light years away, I believe. So, or maybe that's the closest star. I think 10 point is an average star, but that's going to be common sense to you, right? That star is that far away, moving at those kind of projectiles, and yet we have seen it not move at all, has always been aligned with our North Pole, and you're going to believe in that cosmology. That's common sense. You're going to tell me that you believe that these private companies, that this isn't a crap story from a crap website about a ridiculous company that can say whatever it wants to say to get investors' money, just like Brandon does with Virgin Airlines. How every 8 years, and this has been documented, he comes out and he asks for, you know, deposits to go to space, and nothing ever comes of it, and he just robs millions of dollars of deposits. Go look at his reviews, and you will see the people that are complaining that they would just even like, you know, a certificate or anything to say that, hey, we've done something towards this mission. That's common sense, though. The stars don't move, Dave Hodges. They've never moved. They move seasonally, but for thousands of years, since the beginning of time, since you can read in all of your history books, we've been looking at the same constellations, and those constellations have the same spatial analysis within, or rather spatial relationship to make that constellation. It never changes, so the stars are always within the same spatial relationship to make that constellation. It never changes, and all those constellations always stay within the same spatial relationship within each other. It never changes since the beginning of time. Astrology has been something that was before Christ and still continues to this day without a beat change, and is as predictable as anything Newtonian, Kepler, or anyone else you want to throw in the box. Okay? In fact, it takes a lot less math with astrology, right? So, here's the facts of the matter here. It's not common sense, and it's about time that some of these so-called truthers, and I hate, you know, a lot of people, I just sound like everybody else, but, you know, if you are really going there, then you've got to go the whole limit. You can't just stop and say this is, you know, and then feed the indoctrination and say this is a part that I was indoctrinated, that I wasn't, and this indoctrination is for real. Everything you were taught was indoctrinated to you, and it has to be questioned. And if you believe that we are colonizing the moon in the next 6 years, and we haven't been there in the last 22 years, then I mean, I got a really good bridge for you, right? I mean, that's not common sense. And this is where, you know, most of the truth community is scared to go. They won't go to flat Earth. They won't understand that they're trapped inside of a dome, that these stars are not millions of miles away, that they're as close as it appears to their very eyes, that the empirical evidence is in fact empirical evidence, and that you are not being fooled or disillusioned or something of that matter. That's not common sense, okay? It's not common sense. You know, and so this is where, if you are not at least researching flat Earth on a very serious and seriously questioning the notions of gravity, general relativity, which most of science has already walked past, and even start to look at where Newtonian physics is leading you to, without leading to Newton's conclusions, but just figuring out what the mechanics of the physics is leading you to, you'll find the same things that we're all finding. Okay? You'll see it. Be honest. Go do the research, though. Be real. Because if you don't, and you put out crap like this, and you even speculate that this stuff is possible without snickering, you know, without having a tongue-in-cheek, and at the end saying, but we all know the truth, that we live in a dome and we have no way to get out, okay? That we don't know how to get past Antarctica, that we don't know how to circumnavigate the world north to south. We've never, ever done it. We've never traveled the world north to south, David Hodges, but that's common sense, right? Okay, Dave Hodges is my hero. I subscribe to him. I get notifications. I watch his videos instantly. I'm normally one of his first to thumbs it up. But again, just like so many people that I could say the same about, you really, really look like you lack research integrity, and you mental laziness when you don't go do the flat Earth research. Because, I mean, you're already behind. You're 4 years, 5 years, maybe 10 years behind already. Really behind. At least go do the research and make a fair analysis.